Welcome to part 2 of making tree syrup. This is probably going to be the shortest and easiest part of this, is the collection. I'll go over a few things real quick. I collect mine in coolers. I wish I had some more of these. Coolers are nice because they're insulated, they have handles, and the best part is they have spouts. And we'll get to that later on in the filtering process. You can use buckets and just change your buckets out, put lids on them. Or some people in larger operations, will tap different trees together, run lines all into one central line, and then have it come down into one large bulk tank where they then pump it into another tank and take it to where what they call usually their sugar shack, or where they boil it down. A couple things that you want to be aware of is you want to keep this cold. You want to keep it, you can freeze it. Actually, a lot of people put it in their freezer and freeze it, but you want to keep it cold, and you want to make sure it doesn't get cloudy. When it starts to get cloudy, that means it's going bad, and it'll get kind of like a nutty flavor to it, or a nutty smell to it. So that's just some things to be aware of. When you put it in a cooler, you can also put like frozen water bottles or frozen 2-liter bottles just to help keep it cold. But right now, it barely gets above freezing during the day, freezing at night. A lot of these are already frozen in the bucket, so I won't have a problem with that. So I'm gonna go run over, grab the side-by-side, throw these in the back, and let's go do some collecting. Charlie's with us today on the collection run. We've had him for about 3 weeks, so I don't know how he's gonna do on a side-by-side. We'll see. All right, we got him in for now. Sit. As long as you don't freak out. Lay down. We're at our first collection spot. As you can see, I got 5 right here. That larger tree right there has 2 taps in it. This makes it easy when you have them close together. That way you're not lugging a bunch of sap up and down the mountain. Go ahead and collect these 2. You can tell by the way that one's leaning, it's got a little bit in it. And you pretty much just, that one's about half full. You have to watch, especially if you're in the mountains like this, that, Charlie, go, that you don't knock this over while you're collecting. This one too, a little over half full. One thing I need to do is build something for the back of the side-by-side to hold these in, because a lot of times I'll get going and they'll slosh around. I've had it to fall over before, but I should have pre-planned better on this. This tree, we had 2 taps in. This is more north facing, this is more south facing. This one's under a big limb, that one's under a bigger limb. This one has more than this one. So like I said in the beginning, a lot of people say tap on this side under a big limb, tap on this side. I'm not sure if that really matters. And as you can see here, the north side had less. So I'm gonna go ahead and collect these and go on to the next one. One thing that I do when I'm collecting, as you can see, that bucket is way down below under the mountain from where all my other ones are. The cooler that I was collecting in is about full. It probably will take what's in that, but I don't want to lug that all the way down, the cooler all the way down, all the way back up. So what I'll do is I'll grab this bucket and I'll go down. I should have a lid. I should have grabbed the lid, but I didn't. I'll switch the buckets out, bring that one back up, and put it in the cooler, or the other cooler, and then once it's empty, I'll just replace the other bucket. And that one wasn't the greatest producing. It's probably a half gallon in that one. And that's a bigger tree. That tree usually, I usually get pretty good out of that tree. But these smaller trees, to me, I get so much more out of the smaller, like 12, 13-inch trees than I do the big ones, even with several taps in them. I just collected 5 buckets. That is either a 6 or maybe 7 gallon cooler. I think it's 6. So we average right around a gallon per bucket. Not bad. One thing to note, around your taps, if it gets warm enough, there will be ants crawling all over it trying to get the sap out. And you'll get ants that somehow get into the buckets. No big deal. You boil this for many hours, so there's no worry about contaminations as far as organic debris, leaves, stuff like that. I know it's not easy to tell on camera how steep grades are. I live in the Appalachian Mountains, and we have some of the roughest terrain, the steepest terrain in the country. And you want to make sure everything's strapped in, because the last thing that you want is to be going down the mountain and lose your entire load in the back of your truck, or your four-wheeler, or in my case, the side-by-side. I've collected all the maple trees. Now I'm on to the walnut. As you can see, this is a smaller walnut tree. These are all tapped at the same time. This one has quite a bit more. That probably has 2.5 gallons in it. I put sometimes I separate walnut with maple. I separate all the trees, and other times I just pour them all together and make kind of a concoction of syrup. And that's the collection process. Pretty simple. I got about 6 gallons of maple and a little over 4 gallons of walnut. I've not mixed them in yet. I usually do. But I was noticing, I don't know if you can tell or not, there is something weird in the walnut sap. Kind of slimy feeling. I pulled some out and felt of it, kind of slimy. It left some in the bottom of a bucket when I was emptying it. So I'm gonna take some pictures, do some Google, call my extension agent, and I'm gonna call a buddy of mine that got me into syrup making to see if he's ever seen that, what it is. It might be nothing, might be something harmful, I'm not sure. It's always good to be safe and do some research. Next process, or next video, sorry, number 3, will be the filtering and boiling it down into syrup. As always, thanks for watching.